Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Tim. This wonderful guy over here is Jamie, and this is Breaking the Code. One topic, no script. And today we are talking top 5 comic book video games. Now, before we get into that, Jamie, we have a special list that I'd like to go over first, and that would be,
Oh, of course.
yeah, that would be Kids' Choice. So I posed this question.
Is this Nickelodeon now?
Yeah, pretty much. I posed this question to my son, Ethan, and this is the top 5 video games that he has for comic book video games, at least.
Mhm.
Now, number 5 will be DC Universe Online. So,
Okay, solid five.
yeah, so I remember when that came out, I actually paid for the disc version
Mhm.
of it when you still had to pay for the membership or whatever per month.
Right.
And I thought it was pretty fun. I didn't like that it took a year and a half to get on a server. But beyond that, the massive MMO type thing and the adventures and different quests and things like that, and the character creatability, I really dug.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. So yeah, I think that's a real solid number 5. Now his number 4, and my son will get chastised for this because it needs to be higher on the list, but he says Ultimate Alliance is number 4.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta teach your kids right, but obviously some people just teach your kids wrong.
I just haven't taught him enough.
No, not yet.
Ultimate Alliance is a fantastic game, and maybe not. We'll get into that a little bit later.
These are fighting words already in Breaking the Code, ladies and gentlemen.
Ethan's number 3 is Lego Marvel Superheroes, the first one.
That's a good 3 spot.
I can see that, absolutely. That was an absolutely fantastic game to play. Lots of characters. The destruction aspect of the game I loved. I loved the open world bit too. Flying around through Lego New York City. That's absolutely cool.
And the Deadpool quests, to get his bricks, it was good too. And then you see them in the background, going out of frame.
I think my favorite part about Lego Marvel Superheroes is Mr. Fantastic when he turns into the teapot.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, but there's so many characters to choose from in that game. As a Lego character, okay, and everybody had a voice actor.
I love it. It's great. His number 2 is a game that him and I have played quite a bit, and I can see it at a number 2, Marvel vs. Capcom Ultimate.
Okay, so I would not have that at my 2. I mean, I can understand the almost the nostalgia behind it, but for me, I can do fighters. I just don't like fighters.
True, but Marvel vs. Capcom, when it first came out, man, that was the game to have because you had all the Street Fighter characters and other Capcom-specific characters going against top-tier Marvel characters. Dude, that was awesome. And the game still holds up. I call it a super button masher because I don't do tournaments for it. But
all of them are super button mashers.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's cool. But his number 1 is Deadpool.
And of course it is because he's going to be a teenager here soon. And I would assume that Deadpool relates to all those, teenagers out there with a young angst.
That's
right. The sarcasm that I have, I get it. I look worse than Wade Wilson, but at the same point, I have the sarcasm of him. Fair enough.
Yeah, I can see that. You just don't have the face for radio.
No, I don't even have the face to be in Deadpool. I tried out for it, and they're like, actually, you don't need the makeup, so we're gonna say no.
Excuse me, sir, but that's just too frightening for children. What do you mean? I'm not Sonny Kruger. I'm Jamie.
Right?
Sorry, Sonny, you're not here, so it's easy to say that.
It's like a avocado head intimacy with a even uglier avocado.
Oh my God!
And then this was born.
So, moving forward, Jamie, let's go ahead and get into our list. So, I'm going to go ahead and start this off. And my number 5 is Ethan's number 1, and that would be Deadpool, specifically on the Xbox 360. Okay. Now, I dug the crap out of that game, and I thought it was really, really well done. The voice actor for Deadpool was fantastic. I think in his apartment alone, there were like 5 achievements to get.
Yes.
And I made sure to get as many of those as I could. One of those was the pancakes, right?
Yes, where you go in there and start cooking the pancake. That's what I said on the podcast. For anyone who hasn't checked out the Codex podcast yet, I think I talked about it in episode 40.
Yeah.
Or 41.
Yeah.
One of the two. Are we at 41?
40,
I can't remember where we're at.
As of this recording, 40 is the most recent.
Okay, 40 is the most recent. I talk if they have him in the MCU, if he does not make 10,000 pancakes, I am going to riot.
But yeah, Deadpool was great. Cable looked amazing in there. I believe Domino was in there. Lots of other characters were in there. It was absolutely fantastic. A lot of fun to play. It was really exciting. I really enjoyed it. The gameplay was great. The action was great. Comedy was great. It was just a solid video game all around. And it was a game I really loved.
Nice. That's a solid 5.
So what do you got for number 5?
I have a little bit of a retro one.
Uh-oh.
I'm going TMNT Turtles in Time.
Oh, Turtles was on my list, and me and Ethan even actually talked about that, but I was like, no, there's
I remember that arcade game more than anything in my childhood.
Okay.
Like I remember at a point my mom was playing that with me because she's like, this is all you do all day? And I was like, yeah. And then she started playing, and then I'm like, one day I come home from school and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. Like,
Mom, don't go there. Don't go any farther.
Yeah, don't go down that sewer. But yeah, no, that game I was horrible at it because I was young, but like I spent countless hours playing that game.
Yeah, oh yeah. I can remember when video game consoles were first created and the original Ninja Turtles game was on there. That game was so much fun, but so frustrating when you had to go swim through with any of the turtles and dodge the mines. God almighty, that's on another list entirely. Games that made you break controllers. Number 1, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
X-Men Sega.
Oh, okay, right on. I hear that. All right, so my number 4 for top comic video games is Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe.
Very underrated game. I will get that is my honorable mention for this.
That is when I think NetherRealm was bought by Warner Brothers, and that's when they started doing a lot of Warner Brothers properties, and DC was one of them. And this is the precursor to what Injustice eventually becomes. So Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. Dude, I would just sit there and mess with the menu and go back and forth and watch Batman and Scorpion duke it out. That was cool. The storyline was great.
Actually well written, and it was better written than most comics today.
Yeah, and even though the DC heroes didn't do fatalities, the Mortal Kombat characters did, and they did them to the DC characters, which was awesome to see. And I dug that. Batman was amazing. Superman, Green Lantern, Wonder Woman, they were all fantastic.
Always rocked out with GL and the Flash.
Dude, the Flash was my go-to.
He was like a cheat code in that game.
Yeah, I love that game. It was so good. But there are other games that are better, in my opinion. But Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe very heavily earns its number 4 spot. So what do you got for number 4?
Number 4, I got one that's going to shock you. Because I do not care for this team, and I'm trying to care for this team, but I'm going with X-Men Legends.
Really? Okay. Right on.
It was a good, like the story was good. Like it was the first time I actually was like captivated inside of a game and played something through all the way. And the ability to use a different team each time, like going into missions and leveling up. Like Iceman was the guy I was using every single time because I don't like Cyclops.
I think Colossus was my go-to guy on that.
Yeah, he
had to be on the team somewhere.
And like you had to know what missions you were doing and had a specific skill set for each character.
Oh yeah.
Because there were certain areas that you could not get past unless you had a certain person on your team. So if you didn't save beforehand and then have to restart, put that character on your team, you weren't making it through that level.
I remember being sick one time from I called out from work and I think I was out for like 4 or 5 days, and the only 2 games I played were Half-Life 2 and X-Men Legends. And dude, I killed both of those games. X-Men Legends was first, Half-Life 2 was second. I love X-Men Legends.
Yes. What's your number 3?
Okay, so my number 3 is a throwback. It's kind of retro. It's a little bit earlier than this gem that's behind me.
The perfect game ever made.
Right, the best game ever made. If you don't own this game, ladies and gentlemen, you need to get it. This game will blow your mind. But my number 3 is Maximum Carnage.
Good pick. Very good pick.
I'm going to put Maximum Carnage at number 3. Now, I remember...
That's why this got so hard, because there's so many games I remember playing, and I was like, I got to go with the ones that are fresh in my mind.
Yeah. There's 2 others above this, though, that I think are better than this. And it was hard, because Maximum Carnage at first was at my number 1, but I had to redo my list. I was like, no, it's got to go here. So, okay, Maximum Carnage, the storyline. Anybody watching this that knows the storyline, you know how amazing that storyline is and how devastating it was for Spider-Man after that. If you haven't read it, guys, go read it. Go to Barnes & Noble or Books A Million, Amazon, eBay, get the trade, find the single issues. That is a story you don't want to miss out on. It's fantastic. And the game did it very, very well. Stayed about as true as a 16-bit video game could get to that storyline. I mean, it's a side scroller. You as Spider-Man, as Venom, going against Carnage and Shriek and Doppelganger. Captain America comes in to help you, Black Cat, etc., etc. The game was amazing.
Nice. Like that was a throwback. It was a great game. I just having Carnage in a game, like no one was thinking of that at the time. Yep. And it to me, it was one of those moments where it's like, oh, now it's getting real.
Dude, that's exactly right. Because I can remember going up to friends at that time and like the advertisements in the comic books and be like, do you see this? Do you see what is coming? Whoa.
Back when video game ads were cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so what do you got for number 3?
Well, before that, I'm going to say, I think I know what your number 1 is now.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, so before your number 1, I think I'm going to say it and then see if I'm right.
We'll see. Go ahead.
Okay. So at number 3, I have Guardians of the Galaxy. And I played that on Twitch, so you guys go check that out. Make sure you guys go check out twitch.tv/the Kodak Station and go check out what we're doing, because we do got Kodak Gaming back.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Lots of cool stuff going on there.
Lots of good things are gonna be coming from there.
Yeah.
The game though, it's like I love the single player aspect, and no games are really doing it anymore. Like we got Fortnite and Warzone and all this, and I'm like, I don't want to hear a 12-year-old yell at me and tell me my mom's stupid. Like, get it? It's fine.
I can get my daughter to do that to you for free.
Yeah, I don't, and I don't have to pay for it.
Right, exactly.
But no, it was a good mix of emotions, humor, just how the style was with the game, and you could switch out the costumes, which I thought was cool. You have the set team. There's so many unlockables you could find, and that's a playable replay through I'm gonna do eventually.
Now I'll tell you, and this isn't saying this because we work together and are friends and things like that, but when you were I mean, if you didn't know, but when you were playing that, Ethan and I would sit down and watch the whole thing. We got really invested in that story, and that was awesome. That was a great game to play. I'd never seen my son sit there and just pull up a pillow and lay down. And Ethan, you all right? No, Dad, I'm watching Jamie play right now. Right. Okay, all right, cool, go ahead. So. Yeah.
I remember the pictures like I sent. You're like, he has not moved.
Nope, he's staying right there. Yeah, Guardians for number 3. That's amazing. That's wonderful. But
right, so what do we got at number 2?
So
now I'm waiting for this number 1 because I think I got it.
My number 2 is something that's also amazing and spectacular, maybe a little sensational, and that would be Marvel's Spider-Man.
Okay.
So yeah, Marvel's
Just Spider-Man?
Yeah, just Spider-Man,
Okay.
not Miles Morales, but the first one,
Okay.
Marvel's Spider-Man for the PS4. Uh, the the open play in New York City alone. If you never do anything else and just get to swing through the city and take selfies and go check out all the landmarks and do what Spider-Man does on a regular Tuesday, that's
Does
enough.
whatever a Spider-Man does.
That's enough for me. I could do that all day long, and then add on top of that costumes straight out of the comic books and from the
movies.
And everything, and it's a wonderfully crafted game that just dazzles and surprises every time you play it. It's a game I could sit and play for hours. I love that game. It's fantastic.
It is a good pick. I can see why it's your number 2.
Yeah, but it's not my number 1.
I think I know what number 1 is.
Maybe. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Batman Arkham Asylum.
Ooh,
the reason I
nice.
have this at number 2 is because of the fact that you had Mark Hamill reprise his role as the Joker.
And Conroy.
That's what I was about to say. Kevin Conroy comes back as Batman for the voiceover work. And the game, like, to me, revolutionized what we should have in a comic book video game.
Right on.
Just the, like, kind of openness, like running around, Commissioner Gordon being there, being able to be a detective actually in a game where people seem to forget that Batman is the world's greatest detective.
Right, not just dude that
and not just a guy
crap out of everybody.
Not just a guy that has what do you call it?
Daddy's money.
No, besides that. But no, not a guy that has a plan every time.
Right.
Or prep time, I would say.
Exactly. That is the ultimate game of no prep time.
Yeah, and you're literally running through trying to figure out, like, and all the Riddler trophies, like finding all the clues, even though there's like 300 or something of them. But I did it, no shame. But that game pushed the envelope for me at that time. I still play it.
My favorite Arkham game is Arkham City.
Yeah, I'm actually redoing. Well, I'm doing it backwards. I'm doing Arkham Knight, and I'm gonna start at Arkham Asylum, work my way back up because we have Gotham Knights coming out in October.
Arkham City, Hugo Strange, dude, completely underrated Batman villain that is not utilized near enough. Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, but Arkham Asylum, yeah, that is a well-deserved number 2.
Okay.
All right, so before we get into the number 1 spot, I'm going to go ahead and go over my 5 through 2s, and I'll let you know what my number 1 is. So
I got to say it, because I think I know it.
Uh-oh. My number 5 is Deadpool. My number 4 is Mortal Kombat vs. DC Universe. My number 3 is Maximum Carnage. Number 2 is Marvel's Spider-Man. And my number 1 pick is the ultimate choice, and it is Ultimate Alliance.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What were you thinking?
Wrong. I thought it was going to be Shattered Dimensions.
Nope. Ultimate
I thought that
Alliance.
because that's all you ever talk about is, oh, remember Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions? That was the best game ever.
As good as Shattered Dimension was, it was an absolutely fantastic game, and it was, I think, one of the best Spider-Man games, if not one of the best video games ever made, starting at number 6. But these 5, I think, are better games than that, and Ultimate Alliance, I think, is tops. And the reason for that is it took what X-Men Legends 1 and 2 did and dialed it up to 11. And that opening sequence with Nick Fury.
Oh, yeah. And then you got Wolverine, Spider-Man, all of them jumping in.
Wolverine laughing while the one Ultron ship is crashing into the side of the helicarrier. And
that's when he started wearing the Dago tee.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so good, and all the different levels going into Atlantis and into Hell and everywhere else, fighting Galactus. all of that stuff, dude, and the amount of characters in that game that you could choose.
Astonishing, man. Like, it was just so many. And like, I would look up lists because they were releasing a new villain and a new hero like every week until the game release.
Yeah.
So you can see who is playable.
And then you've got the gold edition for the
I got that.
Dude, that game is
for
like
the Xbox
immensely impossible to get a hold of now, and people want stupid amounts of money for it.
Oh yeah.
But that had Hulk and Venom and
Hawkeye,
right? Yeah, I think it had 4 additional characters,
four villains and 4 heroes,
so 8 total. Yes, and dude, just adding those characters into an already wonderful game just made it even better. And I owned it on the PS2, and I used to play that game every night after work when I was living with my buddy Paul. Hey Paul, how you doing?
Shout out Paul.
Right, yeah. Every night I would come home from work, I'd sit down and I'd play it, and he would come in and he'd sit down and just watch me play. What are you playing, Tim? Playing Ultimate Alliance. Oh, dude, where are you at? I'm here, man. Check it out. That's amazing. It's fantastic. Love that game. So, okay, Jamie, I'm very curious to hear your number 1.
All right, so my number 1, if we had a drummer right now, if I'd put this in.
Before you do that, rattle off your 5 to 2s if you don't mind.
Okay. That's what I was probably going to do, but who cares? It's our show. We can do it. Right. Number 5, I got TMNT, Turtles in Time. Mm-hmm. Number 4, I got X-Men Legends. Number 3, Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 2, I have Batman Arkham Asylum. And my number 1 is Spider-Man Separation Anxiety.
Really?
No, it's Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I play that game yearly.
That's wonderful.
That game is a yearly play for me. No matter what system I have to put it on or how I have to find it, that game is getting played. No matter what.
I've got it sitting right over there. So.
And dude, the interaction in that game, the cinematography, the story, like Loki was the baddest villain I've ever seen at that point, and it's
Doom.
The first. It was my first ever, like, how can I put it? My appearance of actually seeing Moon Knight as a character
in a video game.
In general.
Oh,
and
right
that's
on.
What started that fire under me. That's like, I need to read this guy. Like, I need to understand him more, because you're throwing, the crescent moons at people, using the staff, and I'm like, what's Khonshu? And I'm like, okay, now I need to figure out this character. So it was my first real experience, seeing and using a character that I had no idea of.
Yeah.
Kind of broadened my Marvel side of things, because I've been a DC guy forever. I have no bias towards them, but at the same time, it's like Moon Knight's pretty cool.
DC has never put a game out like that, and I don't think a Marvel licensed property has.
They did with Justice League, for the very first
Ultimate
Xbox.
Alliance, though.
It was kind of like that, and to an extent, you were you could pick 2 players, but it wasn't
fun.
Yeah, but it's DC. They don't really do much right aside from the animated movies.
That's very true.
And then their comics.
Right. Well, even that, they're not necessarily doing completely.
They're Elseworld comics.
Right. Their alternate universe stories are doing better than their mainstream stories. But that's a topic for another time.
That's another breaking the code that we do not want to get into.
Absolutely. Well, all right, Jamie, before we get out of here with these top 5 comic book video games, you got anything else you want to let our wonderful and amazing audience know?
Yeah, guys. Everything now is updated as of this video being put out on our Spotify. So go check us out, or anywhere else you can find podcasting needs. Once again, always be kind to one another. You don't know what anyone's going through in this world, so just be kind. If there's one thing you could do out there, make someone smile. Yeah, and other than that, like this video, definitely, so it helps the algorithm a little bit more. Hit that notification bell and subscribe, because we're getting somewhere, and we got to get a little bit farther.
Absolutely. All right, guys, once again, don't forget, you can find us anywhere on social media, anywhere podcasts are streamed, your favorite podcast streaming platform, we are on it. Your favorite social media platform to talk about your day, we are there. We are also on Discord. We also are on TikTok. And yeah, we're on Twitch too. So we're everywhere, guys. All you got to do is type in the Codex Station, and that is where you'll find us. Once again, guys, my name is Tim. This wonderful guy over here is Jamie. This is Breaking the Code, and we will see you next time.
See you guys in the next one.